This is a pimped out 5.5 Gen iPod. Why do I have this in my possession, and why are so many of you online buying these and talking about the iPod 15 years after its decline? That's what we're talking about today, and I'll be providing you with several reasons why I decided the iPod was worth another go around. So if you're interested in getting one, and perhaps that's what brought you here to begin with, then hopefully you'll find the answers you seek to make the right choice for you. Greetings and welcome back to Audio Arkitekts. I'm your host, Mike, and today is a special day. It's the day we revisit a relic of the past and see if it has enough gas to bring itself into the new world. If this is your first time here and you're just dipping your toes in some of the action, I encourage you to strike that like button and subscribe to the channel so you become part of the solution. The first time I saw the iPod as more than just a dated MP3 player, but as an essential device, was in the movie The Book of Eli. In that world, the iPod wasn't just tech, it was hope. For Eli, the iPod was a tether to what made us human: songs, memories, feelings, everything the world had forgotten. It was proof that even in silence, music still speaks. Off topic, Atticus Ross completely killed it on that soundtrack. Just haunting, atmospheric, and absolutely perfect for the world falling apart around it. This brings me to my reasons for buying and preserving the iPod. These aren't in any order of significance because I feel they're all equally noteworthy. Check it out. Most people don't realize just how capable these old iPods still are, especially the 5.5 Gen. It's not just a music player. You can watch movies and TV shows, listen to podcasts and audiobooks, read notes, keep your contacts and calendar, even use it as a clock, stopwatch, or alarm. It makes total sense that in a post-apocalyptic world like the Book of Eli, a device like this would still be sacred. It carries memories, emotion, and culture all in your pocket. And while we're not living in a wasteland just yet, there's a growing subculture that craves disconnection. People are intentionally building EDC kits with dumb devices, tech that does just enough. We're overwhelmed by our smartphones, constantly pulled in every direction. But with something like this, there's peace and simplicity, a focused experience, just you and your thoughts and the music you choose. No pings, no feeds, no distractions. According to Backlinko, the average American spends over 7 hours a day staring at their smartphone. 7 hours! That's nearly a full workday spent scrolling, swiping, and chasing dopamine. It's no surprise that there's a growing movement towards dumb phones and minimalist devices, tools that do one thing well without hijacking your attention. The iPod fits perfectly into that space. It's not connected to the internet, there are no notifications, no feeds, no endless rabbit holes. It does exactly what it was designed to do: play your music and stay out of your way. In a world engineered to steal your time, this little device becomes something rare, a piece of tech that actually respects your attention. It's a reminder that not every device needs to be smart to be valuable. Sometimes the smartest choice is going back to something simple, something that lets you focus, disconnect, and reclaim a bit of that precious resource, which is time. What was the biggest complaint when the iPhone and other smartphones went fully wireless? No headphone jack. People were loud about it at first, but now most of the world has adapted to dongles and Bluetooth everything. I haven't. I still want a headphone jack. What happened to the simplicity of just plugging in a pair of headphones and pressing play? There's something beautifully intentional about a tech device that keeps its audio output analog. That's what makes this particular iPod, the 5.5 Gen, so special. It houses a Wolfson DAC, a component that's earned real respect in the audiophile community. It's the only iPod where Apple truly prioritized sound quality, which honestly is a shame. Most people don't buy iPods for high-fidelity audio unless it's this one. I've learned that the headphone jack isn't just a port. It's a philosophy. It reinforces the iPod's whole purpose: to disconnect from the noise and tune in to what really matters. Who would have thought an Apple device would be so easy to DIY? Honestly, I never considered any Apple product to be user-friendly when it came to repairs, but the iPod, at least up until the 5.5 Gen, breaks that mold. These things are surprisingly easy to open and upgrade. I recently picked up a 6th Gen iPod from an estate sale for 25 bucks. It wouldn't even power on. So I turned to the DankPod's channel. His videos are super funny, super informative, and honestly, he's a big inspiration. He mentioned how tough the 6th gens are to crack open, and he did not lie. I ended up using a bunch of metal tongue depressors just to get it open, and in the process, I damaged the screen and the front casing. Thankfully, I had backup parts ready to go, a new battery, a fresh screen, a case, and an iFlash adapter to convert an SD card into a solid-state storage drive. It turned out great in the end, but my heart was still set on the 5.5 gen. Not only is it way easier to work on, but as I've mentioned before, the audio output is superior thanks to the Wolfson DAC. The iPod is incredibly DIY friendly if you have a bit of patience and some basic tech skills. That makes it even more desirable today. You can upgrade the storage, replace the battery, swap out parts, whatever you need to keep it running for years to come. It adds real longevity and flexibility to a device that's already timeless. We exist in a world where ads are everywhere. Back in the day, commercials were something you only saw on TV, heard on the radio, or found stuffed in your mailbox. But in 2025, the moment I connect to anything online, I'm instantly force-fed a litany of ads tailored to my habits, my location, even sometimes my conversations, which I don't like. These aren't random. They're algorithmic blueprints built to make me spend. And what really pisses me off is that we're actually paying to be advertised to. Amazon Prime now runs ads unless you cough up more cash. Sling TV charges a monthly fee and still plays commercials. It's insane. That's why the iPod matters. It protects us from all that noise. It's not online. It's not listening. It's not tracking. It simply plays music. Nothing more, nothing less. It's a rare kind of freedom. Think about this. We're spending an average of $91 a month on subscriptions. That's over $1,000 a year. And for what? To rent access to things we used to own? With Spotify, you're just borrowing the music. The iPod represents a different time when you paid once and that was it. No monthly fees, no locked features, just your music your way. More and more people are waking up to this. They're stepping back, ditching endless subscriptions and rediscovering the beauty of disconnected devices, DIY tech, and physical media. When was the last time you made a real playlist? I mean, sat down and really thought it through. If you're around my age, I'm 42, you remember making mixtapes and burned CDs. You only had so much space, so every track had to count. Your choices were intentional and deliberate. You didn't waste a single slot. You picked the creme de la creme songs that defined a moment, a feeling, a chapter in your life. Why did we stop doing that? Why can't we bring that same passion and purpose into our playlists today? The iPod gives us that chance. It invites us to slow down, to curate with care. No algorithms, no auto-generated nonsense, just music you choose to be there. It's personal. It's meaningful. Creating playlists on your iPod isn't just a vibe. It's preservation. It's a way to archive your life in sound, to leave behind sonic snapshots of who you were at different points in time. And years from now, there's nothing quite like revisiting a playlist you made decades earlier and remembering exactly how you felt. That's something streaming services will never give you. With the iPod, your music library isn't rented. It's yours forever. Forever. I've done plenty of videos on ripping CDs to your PC. Personally, I usually go the FLAC route, but if you're using an iPod and haven't ventured into Rockbox yet, and you've got at least a 4th gen iPod, 2nd gen iPod mini, 3rd gen Shuffle, or any Nano, Touch, or beyond, then ALAC, Apple's lossless format, is the way. My 5.5 gen falls into that beyond category, and it handles ALAC beautifully. Now, you might be wondering, is there a noticeable difference between 300 kilobits per second MP3 and ALAC? Honestly, that depends on the iPod and what you're using to listen to it. The 5.5 gen is known for its superior audio output thanks to that Wolfson DAC, and I'd expect later models to hold their own as well. If you're tight on space, MP3 still makes sense. ALAC files are larger, similar to FLAC size, but if quality is your priority, ALAC is the way to go. You gotta think, if you're listening to Spotify now, your ears have been pre-programmed to accept MP3 style quality as your standard. Then anything equal to or beyond that should be fantastic. Remember the headphones. Headphones definitely matter. Cheap headphones will sound cheap no matter what source device you feed into them. So make sure you have a decent pair of cans so you can fully embrace what you're investing your time and money into. Now, this is where it all ties together. I use CDs as my source material. I rip them directly to my PC using tools like Exact Audio Copy or DB Power Amp. DB Power Amp is actually especially great if you need to convert FLAC or WAV to ALAC. I genuinely see the iPod as a gateway drug into physical media. Buy CDs so you start building a real music library piece by piece with albums you actually own and not rent from Spotify. And for those of us who still care about sound quality, the fact that iPods support ALAC means we get to enjoy lossless audio on a classic distraction-free device. It's a win-win for not only new generations that are curious about how us old people survived back in the early 2000s, but also for those who prioritize music as their way to escape. I was all about the whole DIY thing, and in all fairness, I did enjoy tinkering with the 6th gen, but I saw this 5.5 gen on eBay, and I just fell in love with it. It's modded with a 128GB hard drive. It has a 3000 mAh battery, and the color is called Atomic Ivy, which is so cool. I could have built one just like this and saved a bit of money, but this one came all done, and it has a 1-year warranty. There is something I wanted to share with you, and this is something I would normally save for after filming commentary on Patreon, but I wanted to share it with everyone. When I opened the box to my modded iPod here, I had a moment of nostalgia because inside the first thing I saw was a screen protector for the iPod. And I didn't know any of this stuff was coming. And then after digging a bit deeper, I saw the seller had included some aftermarket earbuds and a USB cable for the iPod. Why am I telling you this? And why am I so excited about this? This is stuff that used to come from the manufacturer, Apple, Samsung, LG, whoever. It used to include chargers and earbuds and all sorts of goodies inside the box. That's why your parents or grandparents have drawers filled with cables, power adapters, and probably earbuds from a time when these companies actually cared about the experience. I had a moment with that unboxing experience. I really wish I would have filmed it, but now you know. So back to the iPod. This model is so easy to mod, guys, and just to get into that I'm sure I can handle any issues that may arise in the future. So I did Rockbox on both my iPods because I love the look of the different themes. And to be quite honest, I'd rather just use the thousands of FLACs I already have from ripping my CDs. I do have another 5.5 gen in my drawer, but that one needs a new logic board. So as you can see, I'm a fan. I wouldn't recommend the 6th gen because it is absolutely griefing to take the damn thing apart. The 5.5 gen and below, super easy. So unless you like to punish yourself, I'd pick up one of those 5.5 gens all day. Now, where do you source said iPods? Well, if you want to get the one that's all done and nice like mine, eBay is the way. They have a lot of them on there. I'll link down below. Otherwise, you can go to like Facebook Marketplace or Mercari, find a used one so you can mod it yourself. Now there's a secret place online to get all the goodies to mod out your iPod. It's called Elite Obsolete Electronics. That website has everything and they're totally legit. I never thought I'd be making a case for the iPod in 2025. By now, I figured we'd be using devices so advanced, the iPod would just be a distant memory, a footnote in the timeline of digital music players. And sure, we do have incredible DAPs on the market today. They're sleek, powerful, and can play just about any file you throw at them. But here's the thing, they're not an iPod. The iPod carries something those newer devices can't replicate: soul, nostalgia. That unmistakable warmth that takes you back to a time when music felt more personal, when it lived in your pocket, not the cloud. Logic might tell you to go for the latest and greatest, but maybe, just maybe, it's worth taking the road less traveled to own something iconic, something you can proudly say you brought back from the crypt. A relic from a better time, still spinning in a world that never slows down. Thanks for sticking with me, friends, till the end. I truly appreciate it. Huge shout out to my patrons for their continued support. You make this possible. If you enjoy the channel and want to go a bit deeper, Patreon is a great way to connect. You'll get access to unreleased content I don't share on YouTube. And hey, if you've ever liked the shirts I wear on here, check out my online t-shirt shop. I've got a huge catalog of designs any audio lover would appreciate. You can also make a one-time donation there if subscriptions aren't your thing, which, let's be honest, is pretty fitting after everything we just said about them. If you enjoyed the video, I humbly ask that you subscribe to the channel and go back to the 2000s with the like button.
There it is, right there. This amazing little device holds 1,000 songs, and it goes right in my pocket.
Don't forget to ring the bell to get notified every time I drop a fresh new video. Take care, friends, and I'll see you soon.